something that's very, very dear to my heart. And that is, let me ask it this way. Don't you think it's diabolical that in all these years of religion and Bible teaching and Bible education and ministry and teaching us about the Bible and holding us accountable for our own behaviors under God and all the spiritual exploration and all the spiritual regulations and all these cultural these pillars of our culture based in religion that is so intent on holding us humans accountable. However, they have so craftily and I believe intentionally and I believe cruelly completely left out or erased the sexual history of the God incarnate, the begotten, the only begotten Son, the Jesus Christ of the Bible, the Jesus Christ of religion, the Jesus Christ of our lives, the Jesus Christ that has been the measure by which we've been held up to, the measure by which we're criticized, the measure by which we are, our lives are supposed to be shaped. Like, don't you think it's diabolical that such an important aspect of this individual's life has been left out? How can it be okay for us not to have information or have access to information of Jesus Christ dating, whether or not he got married, his sexual lifestyle? Was he gay? Was he straight? Was he polyamorous? What was he? This is the reason I feel this way about it. And to be honest with you, it's not like I get up every single day thinking about this, but yesterday it was really, really on my heart. Like, it was just really on my heart. Like, you have to question everything, especially when it comes to Bible and things that impact our spirituality and our spiritual experience in this life. We have a responsibility to question. And I believe that anyone who is against us questioning that should be questioned themselves, because it's either it existed and they left it out of the Bible. And I would like to know, why isn't it in the Bible, or why was it left out of the Bible? Why isn't it a part of all these theological studies and teachings? Who was this man sexually? Because to be honest with you, when I mean, there's so much pressure. I'll share this. I feel like I have a very unhealthy sexuality. I think I've been celibate for too long. And it's not necessarily because I want to. I'm not celibate because I want to. And sometimes when persons say, oh, you're a good girl. I'm not a good girl. Number one, that's not it. It's not because I don't want to have sex. And I'm not a virgin. I have had sex, right? By choice and not by choice, right? But most of my life, I have been celibate. And I think I've been celibate because I've been trying to go through why. I'm literally afraid of having sex. I'm afraid of it. And I've never had a sexual experience that I woke up from and felt good about myself. In fact, I regret every sexual experience I've ever had in this life. Everyone. And it's something that I've really been struggling with, and something that I've really been talking myself through and working myself through, because I'm telling you, like, I wish I could erase all my sexual experiences. And it's not just because of who I had sex with, it's because of the beliefs that I have around it. It's like this shame that you feel, oh, you're not married, or you're not this, or you're not that. It's like you're living up to this example that you cannot see, you don't know anything about it. But I feel like when we prop this, and I mean no disrespect, but when we prop up the Jesus Christ, right? It's like we give people an unachievable goal that they must achieve, they must get to. What was his sexuality? I've heard of this Mary Magdalene, this and blah, 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 but where is the teachings from the scholars and the apostles and the pastors and the bishops and all of these people? Maybe some is out there and I'm not aware of it. Please, if you have access to someone who has addressed this, I beg of you, please share it in the comments, share it with me, because I really genuinely, I'm interested in learning about this. But I just feel like it's diabolical that it's not. It should be like the ABCs in our education system, in our religion, in our spiritual religious systems. It should be like the ABC. It should be right up there with the he was born by a virgin. Even the whole virgin idea. It's like, what kind of, how has church or religion impacted how we feel about ourselves sexually? And does it matter? Because I think it matters. Because to be honest with you, I wish I could just have sex with somebody and that be it. I would just and not feel guilty, not feel bad, nothing. Interestingly, gosh, I don't even know if I should say this, but I had one intimate experience with someone, and that's the first time and the only time I've ever been intimate with someone, and I feel like I was with someone who cared about me and I was valued. I was a valued person in the experience. Now, to be honest with you, after speaking with the person, I don't know if that was his intent or it was just my perception, to be honest with you, because I don't feel like I've ever had a man be intentional about me in a way that I can perceive it to be so. I've had persons who have said, I've always loved you, but that person has never made a move toward me or anything. I hope this is okay to say, but I have a friend that I've known from childhood, I would say, or at least teenage. Oh man, that noise outside. At least from a teenager. And when I tell you, we were such good friends. Like, we would sit and talk like way into the late hours of the night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and we'd be out there talking. We never even held hands. We never even held hands. We never kissed, nothing. And I remember, like, whenever I would go to visit my sister where she was living, that's when we would connect. And it was so interesting that, okay, I'm an indoor person, right? And I'm an extreme introvert. And so when I visit, I really just stayed inside. And unless my sister forces me to go outside and to visit every family member to say hello, sometimes it will become a big argument. Like, you have to say hello because when you leave, they're going to be mad at me that you came and you never said hello. And I was so young, I didn't even understand. But you know what? I want to say thanks to those persons because they really valued me. Like, I could not walk through that. I could not visit my sister and not go through the community and visit like my aunt and visit them and say hello, hi, stuff like that. Like, it was just so frowned upon. You know, I didn't understand it at the time. I used to be like, so what? If I don't want to go, I don't want to go. But the respect of it and all of those things, I'm still learning about that, you know. But anyway, I remember, like, and his sister was like my closest friend. I still love her. I love her so much even today. Like, I feel like she was the only real friend I've ever had. Let me not say that. No, she's not the only real friend I've ever had, but she's one of the realest friends I've ever had who really know me, someone who really knows me, you know? And whenever I visit, like, he would put himself in the way to see me. And I'm inside trying not to come out. Or if I don't come out at all, like, he'd send his sister she would come and get me to come outside. Like, so and so want to see you or whatever. But it was so weird because unless it's a case where I was just naive. Well, I have been very naive. Growing up, I was very naive. I'm still pretty naive to a lot of things that I've learned later. And I'm just like, girl, why didn't you see that? But for me, like, when this person would come by and say hi or whatever, it's just, we were just talking and I would talk about whoever I'm dating and whatever, because he's never made a move at me. So I never thought that he felt anything for me. And I remember when he said it to me, like, of course I did. I've always liked you. I will always like you. I like you now. I would, like, the things he said, and he's like, yeah, I loved you. And I'm like, huh? But you never said anything. What am I trying to get at? I'm trying to say, my religious experience has crippled me, especially in the area of my sexuality, because there was so much shame around it. That's one of the reasons I didn't even think of having a child, because since I never felt like confident in a man choosing me to be his wife based on how I grew up. I felt like I was the one who had to save myself. So, and I didn't want to be a single mother for multiple reasons, not just religious, but I just didn't like what I saw in the community with women and their kids. And I just didn't like what I saw. And I definitely don't like how I grew up. I don't think any child should have grown up the way I did. So I didn't want to pass that on. But a part of it was my religious experience. It made me feel shamed in the area of my sexuality, you know. And I feel like there's so many double standards in sexuality, you know. Even sometimes when I hear a man says a woman is a whore, and when I ask them like what, it's mostly because of the number of men she sleeps with, and then I'm like, huh. So you mean to tell me just by sleeping with you, who's supposed to be this masterpiece, my value goes down? That doesn't make sense to me. You're literally saying for me to become a whore is for me to engage with you. And by engaging with you, my value goes down. How does that make sense? My value is supposed to increase because I engage with you. How is it going down? What does that say about you? What does that say about you if you being with me makes me a whore? If I touched this microphone and it turned to rust, something's wrong with me. If I touch this book and the book becomes worse, then it's my touch that made it worse. So are we men going around saying, I'm no good, so when I touch you, you become a whore? I'm just saying, you know, and I think all of this comes from the blatant disregard to the sexual lifestyle of the God incarnate that we keep talking about. If it's so important, how can we not talk about that most important part of his life? Sexuality is how we come into life. And it's like someone intentionally went and just warped it. First, he was born from a virgin. Like no sex touched his life at all. I'm sorry. If God is going to send you to demonstrate to us the human experience, why wouldn't he give you a human experience? How can he give somebody a human experience, but they were perfect throughout the entire thing? That's not a human experience. That's not real. That's not true. The evidence doesn't show that. And I'm not saying they're not eunuchs, but was he? Then if he was a eunuch, then tell us about his celibate life. Tell us about it and show us, demonstrate it to us. Just as you demonstrate his miracles, demonstrate the life of celibacy and how he did it. Teach us how to do it. That's all I'm saying. It was just something that was on my heart. And I myself am trying to work to appreciate my sexuality. And I want to get to a place where I pray to God that I meet someone that I can, that helps me value that part of myself. Because I am a sexual person. I love to talk sexuality, write sexuality. I actually like to do that, and I've worked in that area as well. But there's so much shame. Because of shame, I am celibate. Because I'm busy saying, how am I going to count how many people I've been with? The shame is the reason I am not enjoying my sexuality. It's not because I'm a good girl. That's not it. It's the shame. I mean, of course, I think about my health too, and also who I'm going to do it with, because I don't feel that I feel like man's leadership in sexuality is not anything to admire. It's not anything to admire. You know, we say men are the leaders, but a man can just have sex with somebody And as far as he's concerned, he's moral. But if a woman does it, she's a prostitute. Not she's promiscuous. He can be promiscuous and it's okay, but she promiscuous and it's not okay. That's what I'm saying. You have sex with a woman and your value increase, but we have sex with you and our value decrease. What are you saying about yourself, sir? What are you saying about yourself and your own value? If when you touch me, I rust, but when I touch you, you become gold. Maybe that's the statement, you know? So I'm just saying that for all our sakes, I feel that we're being failed. And any religion or any church or any minister or any apostle or anybody, and I'm not saying this, I'm just saying this in general, this has nothing to do with the people I know, because I don't care about the lives of the, when I say I don't care about the lives of the people I know, I mean, I have no expectations. Yes, but this is me as a human being, as a regular person, just talking in general about the things that affect me in general. I don't have a church that I'm necessarily aligned with, so there is no minister that has an obligation to me. There's no church right now where I'm tithing or anything like that. So let me make it very clear. No one has an obligation to me. So I speak in general when I say this. In generally speaking, I am yet to see leaders or advocates for the kingdom prioritize sexuality from the perspective of the Jesus Christ. I think something that speaks volumes. Maybe nothing's wrong with it, but it definitely speaks volumes. It gives me pause. It gives me pause. And that's just one of the reasons I'm not in the church anymore or not assigned, because for about 33 years of my life, I was one of the most loyal churchgoers you could ever think of. Okay, I was in every quiz. I was vice president of Sunday school at one point. I've been to Saturday church, Sunday church. I was in it. And it once you start questioning and really learning life, there's so many questions. And you have to ask yourself, if the sexuality of Christ exists, why isn't it included in the Bible? And if it's not included, why? So I guess in the end, I believe that we should question everything and everyone. And we should know God for ourselves. Know God for ourselves, but question everything and everyone. I wasn't having this conversation to offend anyone. And again, this is me on my life journey, going through this monologue, because I myself, I'm trying to overcome the naivety and the setbacks and the mental or belief systems that is really negatively affecting my ability and capacity to fully express myself sexually, and just to fully express myself in general, you know. So that's my thought on that. Let me know what you think. What are your thoughts? Do you have some answers? Please share it with me. Leave a comment, you know. Yeah, I think it's okay for us to explore and ask questions and learn, and you know what I mean? It's all a part of the growth process. So thank you so much for listening to that. I love to open new packages. There will be the latest information on the top funding opportunities for entrepreneurs who are seeking funding. Come along with me. I'm Coach Raquel, and it is a passion project for me. So I'm so happy to bring this to you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching.